Hello you lovely lot, welcome back to another video on the Preston Penguin channel. Today I'm going to run through the hook lengths I make, what pound line, what diameter, why I use them, shallow rigs. We're just going to talk about shallow rigs. I've actually got my rig tray out, so I'll be able to show you because I'm in my office / bedroom. So I'll be able to show you some little things that I do to catch them better carp on commercials, to catch them better stamper fish on commercials or on the river. But yeah, so first of all, let me talk you through and show you the 6-inch Preston hook length box. I don't know if this is the new one or the old one, but they still got them on sale in Angling Direct, and I think they're about 15-20 quid each. Don't quote me on that. I know it's roughly around about that price. I brought this hook length box. It's a magnetic hook length box, and as you can see, it doesn't open unless you pull it apart, right? So I've got basically all my river rigs and the last set of one of my commercial rigs, which are set to the Camasan Buyer Purlon 3.2 018, 3.2 pound 018 line. But these are all the Preston Reflow, and I believe they are £1 12 ounce bottom, which for those that don't know, I think that's 08. Is it 08? Am I correct? I'm correct, it's 08. So yeah, so that's 08. And then going on to these ones, these are actually my commercial pole rigs. So obviously, as you can see, don't know if you can see in there, there's quite a few of them. Need to do a bit neater than that, don't I? But there's quite a few of them in there ready for my commercial fishing. So they're all set at 6-inch. I have got a number 18 set at, I've got one number 18 set at 4 inches left, and you can tell that from the Preston hook length box. If I show you this side, if you look close enough, you can actually see the markings where it tells you how. I'm trying to get the angle on them. You got the numbers on there, so it literally goes 2 inches, 4 inches, 5 inches, no, 2 inches to 3 inches, 4, 5, and then 6. So that's how it goes. I've got a couple in there that are literally bang on 4 inches. I've got one on there that's actually 7 inches, and I've got a load of my, KKM 20s and things like that. Now, on this side, these are my feeder lines, because I prefer certain venues I go to, like it's nice and hot now, I'm going to want to fish in shallower water if I'm feeding the method. Now 9 times out of 10 I stand a pole and fish shallow anyway, but if I'm on the feeder and I'm using something like Bandom, I'll go for maybe a KKHB 14 with a bait band on, a large bait band, and go with an 8mm, or I might just go straight 14, no bait band, and just put a 6mm expander on. And I tend to find that they are very nice and strong hooks, and the quality of them are absolutely amazing. And I used to use the Camasan hooks all the time, and I used to use hook to nylons, and this has saved me so much money. And having the Preston hook length box has not only just has it saved me money on hook lengths in general, but it's also saved me a lot of time. I could be down a river, snap off, have a nice decent fish, snap off. It takes me no longer than 10 seconds to pull that hook length box out, deepen that float back up again, put a new hook length on, quickly plumb up, and go again. But this is the thing about having a hook length boxes. You might have 08, right, which is £1 12 ounce. You get snapped off on that, you can go straight to £3.5 or £2 12 ounce, which is 09 or 010. So it gives you an option of what you can pick, which is what I use on my pole. Now, because I tend to do a lot of commercials where I fish tights and margins, there could be, cover for the fish, reed beds and stuff like that. I like to get them out of them bushes quick. I like to get them away from that snaggy area, and I like to pull them away. So I use 017 612, £6 12 ounce, and I use 018 bottom, which is £6 6 ounces. I know people probably think there's 6 ounces difference, what are you doing? But the idea is, if that fish does get stuck in them reeds, stuck in them overhanging tree branches, you know, the ones where you try and get to in a match and things like that, hopefully, and 9 times out of 10 it does, the lighter hook length will snap. So that's the idea of that. But I'm going to show you some things that I've done, you know, like my shallow fishing rigs, and then I'm going to walk you through what hooks I would choose, what size hooks I'd choose, to hopefully help you lot catch some better fish. So if I'm on a river, if I'm fishing casters, or even on commercial, I'm fishing casters, maggots, I'll go to a 16. That is the end of that. I'll go for a 16 with maggots and casters, and that is literally it. If I'm fishing hemp, even on a commercial or on a river, I'll go to a size 20. But if I'm fishing corn or nice big cubes of meat to catch them big wobbly carp down the edge, I'll go to a 12. Now, I don't know what it is, but when I first ever started fishing, I was with my dad. My dad got me into it, and he used to always tell me about using small hooks, and I used to always buy size 12s, and I don't know, I've always felt confident at size 12 hooks, and over the years I've noticed that my hook size has gone right down to like an 18, and even in the winter times and stuff, like down to 20 to 22, fishing pinkies, and it's helped a lot. But I tend to find that the majority of my fishing now are on 14s, whether that be a KKMB or a KKHB. It's always a 14 on commercials. Now, we're going to talk about what if you're using pellets, what size hook would you use, what hook would you use, and things like meat. So for meat, 14s, KKHB or KKMB, all the way. Even though you can use them for pellets, I just prefer that if I've got an 8mm pellet on, and I've noticed that if I've got an 8mm pellet on, I will hook every fish, but I tend to get a lot of liners. I just feel like the fish are sucking in the pellet and they're not actually getting the hook in their mouth. Whether that's because they're smaller fish or whatnot, I don't know. But every time that I've put a 12 on, I've hooked everything. I've not had any liners, no nothing. It's been straight bites, straight fish, not even foul hooked a fish on them. It's just been amazing with the KKMB 12s, which is why I've always got a pack of them in my box, even if I've got them on hook lengths. Now, if I'm using 16s, 9 times out of 10, I'm using 018 Kamasan 3 pound 2 ounces, and I might change to maybe 4 pound or 5 pound depending on where or what I'm fishing for. But whenever I use these two, I will use the 6 pound 6 ounces, which is 018. However, sometimes when I'm on a river, I use a 14 barbed. Obviously, check your fishery rules to make sure that you can use barbed, barbless, or micro barbed. But I generally, personally, prefer to use a 14 with things like worms. I don't. Worms, you normally get perch, you get bream, you get tench, and I just find that they don't bend. They don't. All of these Preston hooks that I've used have never straightened out. Whereas I would go through 2 or 3 pre-tied hook lengths of Kamasan because the hooks would straighten out, and it was just getting to the point where it was an absolute joke, and I stopped using them. And my dad taught me how to use a hook tire, so I started using spaded hooks. And I was always using eyed hooks anyway, but I started using spaded hooks, and it's actually changed my fishing. It has generally changed my fishing. Now, we're going to talk about what we've got in here so far. We've got 2 number 14s and 2 number 12s, both on 6 pound 6 ounce line. So we're not going to need any more of them. However, I have got a 10 pound diary reel in my box, just in case I find I'm getting snapped off at 8 pound all the time, or getting snapped off at 8 pound and 5 pound and 3 pound bottom, sorry. So what I am going to do is tie another 14 and another 12 with 6 pound 12 ounce line, which is 017, and we're going to do that now. So we're going to get our line ready. There's loads of line, we ain't going to need all of that, but we'll leave that there for now. Trying to think, most of it's going to be bandams and pellet, so we'll go for a 12. That was close. Nearly went everywhere, these hooks. Just opened up the packet and it literally just went. Luckily, my finger was literally stuffed in the edge of the packet, otherwise they would have gone everywhere. So, a lot of people tie knots differently, right? A lot of people tie their knots differently. A lot of people do loads of different knots. I just like to stick to one simple knot, obviously, apart from when I do the loops, things like that. And always have a bait tub for things like your rubbish next to you. If you've got, especially if you're like me and you've got a dog, you don't want your dog rummaging around in your room, walking around late at night when you're sleeping, and have a hook or something like that in its paw. Okay, it's a very unnecessary vet bill. But I push the line. Through. I can barely see that. I push the line through the back end of the spaded hook, of the eyed hook, of the eye, so it sits just like that. I then push both lines together, so it's like that, like a little loop there. So let me do this close to the camera. So that's your hook. You've got both ends of that finger there. You just push them together. I like to grip hold of this tag end with these two, thumb and finger. And this is generally how I've tied all my hooks. I've had some big carp on these knots. And just a normal basic simple knot. I do this with, depending on the size of the hook and the size of the line. So with 6 pound 12 ounce line, I'll do about 4 knots. And I should have done it the first time, but very important to wet that line before you make a knot. It won't, I say it won't make a difference, but I'll lose a fish now. I've never lost a fish due to me hook coming off the line because I haven't knotted it properly. I've lost fish because the hooks come off because I put too much tension on the rod when I was younger and stuff. But that's the third one. We're going to do number 4 now. I'll grab that line. Be very gentle, you don't get that caught in your mouth. Even if you just put a bit of saliva on your fingers, it will help it. Give that a nice tight pull. Use scissors, folks, don't use your teeth, but I like using my teeth, it's just quicker. And I tend to find I get a nice neat hook there, and that will sit perfect on my rig with a nice 10mm bandum. There we go, with a nice 10mm bandum on the bottom, just off of a method feeder. So now this is the hard part. I've had a few people ask me, how do you manage to get them bang on 6 inches? Well, the thing is, I don't. I roughly work out how far it is from one end of the hook length box to the other. So what I'll actually do is I'll put the hook in the hook length box. And knowing me saying this, I'm going to get it wrong now, and it's going to be way too big or way too short. But I work out where the end of that tag needs to be, right? So I know where that tag needs to be. I'm going to bite it there. Where my thumb and finger is where the tag is meant to be. So I know I've got that much line to do a loop with. Again, wet that line. Don't worry if that line slides through your fingers just a little bit. I'll wet my fingers too because I can't spin that line. And then just going to give it a couple of twists. A couple of twists, there we go. And then we're just going to, like it as you would a figure 8 knot, but I'm going to do this a bit differently. So I'll do it like that, I'll push it over, I'll grip it in big sausage fingers. So you've got, I've done that again, let go of that too much. So you should have 2 loops like that. I then get this end, push it through the back of this loop, lost the loop again. It's very fidgety, and if you can get hold of yourself a loop tire and watch a video on how to use the loop tire, because it does make it a lot easier. I believe Preston do one. So your loop will be there like that. So the top bit of this tag end is your loop here. That's your knot performing. You just want to grab hold of that loop, pull it nice and tight, And then as I said, don't use your teeth, because you will absolutely ruin your teeth. So we're just going to push this through here, give that a quick snip. Let's put them back in the tray so I don't leave them indoors. And your loop should look like that. It's got a bit of a bowl now at the moment, but that will straighten out once I've hooked 1 or 2 fish. But it will eventually look like that. Now you think, well, you bound them on there, coming out of that, that's going to bend anyway, because that's going to be inside your method feeder. It's going to be in your method feeder, and that's going to sit there like that. Loops, this bait's in the method feeder, that end's sticking out, and as them pellets break off, that will slowly just drop down, and it will eventually sit nice and flat. You band them, sit nice and flat. Well, it would do if the line didn't move. It will sit nice and flat with the bandem up against that bottom with that nice pink or fluoro bandem or whatever bandem you decide to use. But that's how I tie my hook clamps. Now the question is it actually 6 inches? And I've just found that it's slightly shorter than 6 inches. Which isn't too bad, because I can still get it over that far end of that loopy bit. And just to relieve some of that line, I'm going to tuck it the right way round, so the line ain't so tight. It's actually probably quite tight still anyway. But as you can see, there's only one hook here. And that's my hook length, and that's ready to go now on a feeder, and that took me less than 8 minutes to make. Whereas if you're in a match, you might not have 8 minutes to wait to retie another hook length, which is why I prefer sorry folks, I was having a drink. It's currently 22 degrees outside and it's boiling hot in my bedroom / office. But yeah, that is why I prefer to do my rigs at home than do them at a match. Or the last thing you want to do is go to a really nice pleasure lake, having a lot of fun, hook into something nice and big, whether that be a carp, whether that be a nice big stamped roach on maybe 8-9 ounce line, pound line, and it snap off. And then you have to sit there for a good 10-15 minutes retying another one. There is nothing worse than doing that, and I absolutely despise of it. So we're going to put our trusty little hook length box back, and if you've got the Preston seat boxes, I don't know if they fit in the Matrix ones, I'm not sure, or if they fit in any other one for that matter. But I have found that I've got the X3 and my friend has got the S3, I think. Again, don't quote me on that. But I have found that in one of them, in the trays, you've got 3 bigger slots, literally the same size as this, just a little bit of a gap on either side. Just the tiniest, maybe a mil gap. And that slots perfectly inside here. Hold on, let me show you. This slots perfectly inside there. It does not move around, and I've got another one there that needs to be done, so that's going to have some actual bands, like bait banded hook lengths. So now we've got the hook length bit out of the way. We need to make a rig. Now, again, you need to check that your local commercial allows this, because it is banned on a lot of commercials, and it's banned on quite a few that I know as well, which is quite sad because it's a way of fishing. But majority of people hate it, some people love it, a bit like Marmite. But yeah, so we're going to do a rig now. some of you are going to look really confused, some of you are going to understand exactly what I'm doing. We're going to keep the 14s out, the 14 kkhbs, and we're going to put these 16s and 12s away just for a split second, because we're going to do a no float overshotted rig. And this is literally becoming a serious, when it's allowed on commercials during matches, it's becoming basically an instant winning method. It is literally, as your basically what it is, you've got no float on, you've got maybe 8 or 9 weights down the line, and you tap, and you lift it about 6-7 inches out of the water, you pole tip out off the water, and you let it drop down again, tap. So your bait is basically coming up, it's basically flicking it up, it's slowly sinking down, and then you tap that pellet, so that pellet's going up and down, and you do it again, and eventually when you go to lift up again, your elastic comes out, that's how you basically self-hook a fish. It's a cheating way, but it's a good way. So before we move on to any rig, in the sense of making a rig, let's go across about shallow rigs. So I went on to trusty little eBay a couple of months ago now, preparing for summer and for these matches, and when you're shallow fishing in matches and stuff. As you can see, I've got a 0.5 gram black bristle. You know that only 10% of you that watch my videos are actually subscribed. Guys, hit that subscribe button for me, please. I really appreciate it, and it helps us get on the algorithm on YouTube, and it's free, of course. Thank you. Right, we are back. So basically, the rigs I was gonna show you is the 0.5 gram. I've got them set up on a double winder because I love these floats so much. I've got them both set up on a double winder, both of them 14 kKMBs. And then just to change it, I've got this one set up, which is a 0.5 gram float. It's got a number 10 dropper underneath the float. I don't know if you can see that now. It's got a number 10 dropper under the float. And then just on the hook length somewhere, I believe is a number 12. But we've got a 14 kk HB and a band on that one for me pellets down the edge. And I tend to find one number 10 on them 0.5 gram floats, one number 10 and a pellet tends to generally sink that line down. Sink that float right down to it, basically like a pinball. Now, the next rig I'm about to show you, you need to, if you're going to use it, you need to make sure that it is not banned on commercial fishery, on your commercial fishery that you're going to, because you will get banned from the fishery if you use it. A lot of fisheries are banning it now, and because it's just an absolute nightmare. It's winning matches left, right and centre when they're allowed to use this method. But basically what I'm talking about is the overshotted rig with no float. So if I was using a float, say there's a float on that line, you got your float, it's constantly, it's overshotted, so your float's just constantly sinking. You just tap your pole, lift it up, tap, lift it up, and you repeat that process whilst loose feeding a few pellets over the top to draw fish in. And because this venue that I'm going to on Wednesdays has got a lot of carp and a lot of F1s in, I want to try and do this method. I've never done it before. So this rig has got, I believe it's 1, 2, 3, 4 number 10s further down the line. This is 6 pounds 6 ounces 018 straight through, and then it's got 2 number 11s just above the loop, and that's going to help me be able to like hold that rig still, keep a nice tight line all the way through. But my last number 10 is about 6-7 inches away from my hook length, like what would be a hook length. So when that rig's going down, that pellet's slowly sinking round. As you're pulling that up, it's going up, down, and it'll just slowly sink naturally, so naturally that the fish end up grabbing it. And when you're lifting up, then 5-6 inches, that's when you're basically self-hooking the fish. So that's one rig done for Wednesday. Now, I don't normally like risking it when it comes to rigs and fishing for carp and things like this. So what I am going to do is I am going to set up another one of them rigs, but with a £6 line, at £6.12 mainline, and we're just going to put a loop in this end, and then I'm going to put £6.6 on as a bottom. So we're just going to do a little loop. Let's do the smallest loop that we can, because I feel like that's going to help me on Wednesday, having better contact with the fish. Right, there's a nice little loop. That is absolutely amazing. I'm happy with that. That is a nice little loop. I'm very, very happy with that. Right, so we're going to want that much off, I'd say. Not even 18 inches, basically. Not even 18 inches. We're going to tie another loop in this end. Now you're probably thinking, why are you tying a loop in either end? Now, to save me faffing about, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie a nice short hook length on this rig, and the reason being is I feel like it's just going to connect to that fish a lot better. And F1 bites are so finicky. As that bait's falling, I don't want them to pick that up on halfway down. I will eventually. That's a lovely loop. I will eventually have to switch over to another line, like another rig. So that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm going to do maybe 4 inches of hook length here. So we're going to tie our 14-eyed KKHB. I like the KKHBs because I just feel like they're in line and they're barbless. You can get them barbed, but they're barbless and they got a nice wide gape on the hook gape. Oh, cheeky! But yeah, so they've got a nice wide gape on them, and yeah, I just feel like they hook the fish lovely. I've used some of the Guru hooks, and they were working for many years, and then I just went off of them. Stopped catching as many fish and went to these. Like, felt like I was hitting fish, but just wasn't hooking them with the Guru hooks. I went to the Preston, the N20s, the N60s, and N30s, and they were just lovely. They were generally a pleasure to use. But you will get hooks that are like, you'll find there's hooks that you feel confident in, and then you'll find that there's hooks that you don't feel as confident in, yeah. And the KKHMBs and the KKHB and the KKMB are the ones that I feel confident in the most. So I was just planning a trip with the anonymous angler for a special day out, and I believe we are going on a river somewhere. Because someone asked me on TikTok, they said they watched my last video and they said they got confused whether I'd ever be fishing lakes again. I will be fishing the lakes again. That's not what I meant, right? What I meant was I will still be fishing the lakes, but I'm going to be fishing more rivers than I will be doing lakes this year, this season coming up, like the new season, because I want to kind of like fish a lot more rivers. I fished the rivers maybe 3 times last year, and the rest of my year was just on day tickets. And you know, it wasn't like we'd fish a different day ticket. We'd fish the same day ticket over and over again. Got boring. So all I'm going to do is, because there's a little bit of a kink in that line, I'm just going to put a number 10 there. That'll do. Just dropped a weight. Right, so that should give that's near enough. That is near enough a straight presentation. But we ain't gonna do that. We ain't gonna settle for near enough. We're gonna settle for it is. Yeah. Would help if my numb fingers weren't dropping weights everywhere. I have to give this, but see what I mean? I'm gonna have to give this place a good old sweep. Right, that's lovely and tight in there now. So you see how that sits more straight? It's got a little bit of a bend, but that's fine. Because we're going to stick one on that bit as well, if we can pick this weight up. There we go. So that's now a nice, as you can see, that's a nice straight rig, very positive rig. And that's that deep, so we're going to do another maybe 3 number 10s up the line. I've got one on my desk, so let's use him up. Let's use it. There's one. So as you can see, there's number 10 there. 2 number 10s on the hook clamp. It's got a little bit of a V shape in the hook clamp, but it's alright, it'll do. It isn't going to harm the hook length. Yeah, there we go. Let's took most of that V shape out of it. Right, let's put 2 more. No, I don't want another 7. Put 2 more out. I'm just going to put one up here. And that is how I complete, kind of complete. I'll put one more on. Actually, let's put 2 more on. Put one up near the loop, one down here. So I'm just going for a tapered rig at the moment, basically, but with no flow. And that will give me that nice kickback that I need. There we go. That's that done. So there's a bit bigger rig. Oh, just spilled a load of number 10s all over the desk. Better than spinning it on the floor. Don't want to say that, and then I go spill one on the chair. Got it. But yeah, so basically it's an overshotted rig. It will help balance the rig out as it's falling through the water. So it should help me get more clearer indications, much nicer indications. And that is basically, that is my rigs in a nutshell. That is how I make them. So you've got your hook there, 2 number 10 droppers, then another one, another one, another one, another one, and then it's spaced out. It's spaced right out. I don't know if you can actually see that, but it is a very See if you can see it up against my arm. It's a very tapered out rig, yeah? So what we're going to do now is we're going to put this on this winder. I'm going to say goodbye to you guys, throw the rubbish in the bin, and hopefully get my head down for a little while for a nap. And then yeah, hopefully wake up on a Thursday morning, go do a bit of fishing and have a bit of fun.